Hello and welcome to Thought for August the 29th. Our readings are 2 Kings chapter 3, Jeremiah chapter 51 and 1 Corinthians chapter 11. And our thought is good and bad traditions. The word tradition can arouse a negative attitude in our minds because of the way Jesus condemns the religious leaders in the Gospels for their traditions. He told them, "You leave the commandment of God and hold the tradition of men." Mark 7 verse 8. The word tradition is sometimes translated simply as teaching in modern versions. The origin of the teaching is all important. Was it ordained by God? In our Corinthians chapter 11 today, Paul tells them, "Now I commend you because you remember me in everything and maintain the traditions or teachings, even as I delivered them to you." Verse 2. There are traditions that are essential for us to keep. Today's chapter highlights the need to observe what is referred to as the Lord's Supper, or the breaking of bread, verses 23 through to 32. Paul quotes how he received from the Lord what I delivered to you, verse 23, and he quotes the words of Jesus about the bread and the cup. We note his words, "Do this in remembrance of me, for as often as you eat this bread and drink the cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he come," verses 24 and 26. It is sad how some have tried to add things he did not say. There is no reference here as to whether the bread should be leavened or unleavened, or whether it should be done on one particular day of the week or time of the year. To begin with, it took place on a daily basis, as we read in Acts chapter 2 verse 46. This is understandable, as so intense would have been the feeling of utter commitment among those baptized into Christ's name at Pentecost. The earlier part of our chapter addresses other principles. "I want you to understand," says Paul, "that the head of every man is Christ. The head of a wife is her husband, and the head of Christ is God." Verse 3. This is the order of responsibility before God, a reason why Jesus chose 12 men to be his principal disciples. It is the reason why a woman should have a head covering, but a man should not, verses 4 to 7. There were factions in Corinth, and Paul makes a pertinent comment in verse 19, "For there must be factions among you in order that those who are genuine among you may be recognized." Those who do not accept or who are not satisfied with the genuine traditions established by Jesus and his chosen disciples are those who go beyond this and move out from the congregation established by the apostles. This is the comment John makes in his epistle. "They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out, that it might become plain that they are all not of us." John 2 verse 19. Today this is more evident than ever, as there is less dedicated reading and following of God's word, and bad traditions have developed. Well, thank you once again for joining us for Thought for the Day, where together we can open up the pages of God's word, remembering that that word is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path.